Satellite uplink established. Welcome back, Commander.
Well, this was quite a surprise. I've never played a Xenoblade game before. The total extent of my experience with Xenoblade was this guy. So, basically nothing. I've seen a couple trailers here and there of the different games, and I've seen a couple clips, but I've never actually experienced Xenoblade anything proper myself. But one game that stood out to me that I was really interested in giving a try was Xenoblade Chronicles X, but there was a problem. It was on the Wii U, and I never got a Wii U. So it seemed like this was a game I was going to miss out on completely, unfortunately. But now, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition has been released on the Switch. So I bought it day one, and I've been playing it a ton. So this is going to be my first impression of the game and this side of the Xenoblade universe. And so far, I am absolutely stunned. Probably the first thing you're gonna notice, especially in an early cutscene, is this game is beautiful. Everywhere I look, I have to ask myself, how is this running on the Switch? And how did this run on the Wii U? And this is coming from someone who actually feels that people underestimate the capabilities of Nintendo Switch. It is definitely a high time we got the Switch 2, but I still think this system is stronger than people give it credit for. But you look around and you see these colossal creatures, and I'm still just like, this is a Switch game! This is amazing! How do you have this many entities in the field around you at any given time, and how can they be this big and the system isn't exploding? This is awesome. And these colossal creatures aren't here just for set dressing. No, they are actual entities that you can pick a fight with if you wanted to. It'd be a horrible idea at this stage of the game, but you can. What the hey? For content!
Can we beat them? I'll pin them down. Give me some cover fire. Furious blast! This number has been...
That went about as well as expected. The next thing you'll probably notice is the soundtrack is fantastic. And I found out that the composer for this game was also the same composer for Attack on Titan. And when you need a soundtrack that can really emphasize the sense of scale, that's exactly who you hire. Another thing that really impresses me is the exploration. Just roaming around and seeing these crazy new landscapes is awesome. I'm not going to spoil much here in the landscapes, but there are some really cool biomes that you can encounter in the different regions of this world. I spent probably a bit more time than I should have at different stages of the game just exploring, when there were some pretty key components that I probably should have picked up first, but oh well, I'm just still having a blast roaming around, picking fights, picking up treasure, exploring, and just seeing this world. It's so cool. And the designs, the art style, everything is just beautiful here, and just tons of fun to simply explore. Now, there are maybe two things that I can see being probably the biggest sticking point for some people, and might be a bit of a iffy factor for some players. One, combat. This combat system reminds me of a sort of MMO style tab targeting system. In this case, you hit the R button on the Switch controller, then hit A to draw your weapon and start attacking. Then you'll just start auto attacking with whatever weapon you have equipped. Then you have a skill bar of up to 8 abilities. Then the strategy comes in based on your positioning. Some abilities do more damage if you're attacking from the side, from the front, from the back, whatever. And depending on if they are staggered, burned, whatever. There's so many factors that can affect the impact of your different abilities. Your positioning, the timing, what you do in what order, are all factors that can affect your success or how easy or how difficult a fight can be if you strategize properly. I imagine this would be a little bit off-putting to people, given that it's not a hack and slash. It's sort of like a pseudo turn-based gameplay style, but with a real-time twist to it. But I don't think it sacrificed any of the tactical depth or complexity. It just presents it differently. After unlocking a few skills and getting the full squad of companions, it's working great to me. I got used to it and like, okay, this is getting fun. I see the depth. I'm enjoying this. It's just a little different to get used to for the first time. The next potential issue is the enemy placement. You could be roaming around and you can see a level 8 enemies standing right there and you wipe them out. That's at your level, that's fine. Take it out, no problem. But a stone's throw away could be a massive creature that is aggressive that is level 80. And then it could feel like enemies are just kind of scattered out randomly, like they used a dartboard approach when placing enemies. Sometimes there may even be a quest that says recommended level 12. Cool, so it should be within my range. But on the way, you can encounter 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. This can get a bit stressful when you're trying to get to a simple gathering point or fight a creature that's at your level. Then you have to pass by these potentially aggressive, super high level enemies. Figuring out how to not get one shot on the way can be a bit of a problem. Thankfully, there's no consequence to death, so you just respawn at a nearby point of interest or fast travel point, whatever, and you can just go on from there. You don't lose anything, but it's still kind of annoying. But when you figure out how to maneuver around these threats, and when you take a look at the big picture, I'm actually not too bothered by this. But so far, my impression is potentially this could actually be a good thing. Because normally a lot of games that have levels and such would have an entire region be locked to certain levels, and the only areas that will be of any value late game in a lot of MMOs and other things, or actual MMOs, will be the high level areas. The only areas that are of any use to you at all will be the max level areas, the ones with the biggest challenges, because you go back to the starting area, there's going to be nothing. It's all trash mobs. You can one-shot them. Here, there are trash mobs, essentially, and bosses everywhere. And they are of varying levels. So if you have a favorite region, like you prefer the lush fields and mountains of the Primordia region, you can just hang out here. And there's still level 80 plus enemies that you can fight if you get to that point in the game. But you still want to get something of value? Well, here you go. There's high-level and low-level enemies here. In any other game, this would just be an area that you abandon before too long and move on to higher-level areas. But here, you roam around and you can see these colossal enemies of super high level, and that ultimately becomes a goal, a challenge for you to overcome. I shall return and make you rue the day you made me feel so small. So initially, this method of enemy placement might lead to a bunch of frustration, but in the end, I feel that this is actually beneficial in the long term, and I think it actually works out. Just be aware of that going in. Next, so far for me, the story has been very interesting. I look forward to progressing the story further. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there is one statement that came to mind that I feel is a decent, non-spoiler way of explaining a relatively early twist. So far, I haven't heard anybody in-game say this, but it's just what came to mind. As long as we live, there is hope. If you haven't played yet, I'll leave that to you to decipher what that means. Now, I said this was like a first impression, but does roughly, give or take, 70 hours still constitute as a first impression? I was wanting to make a video about this, say the 10-hour mark, the 15-hour mark, the 20-hour mark, but I just kept on going and going and going and going. I recently unlocked the Skells, built them up a bit. That's been really cool. I found out that you gain the ability to fly later, but already with the ground-based transformation, this is really opening up the options and exploration, and everything just opens up so much with a Skell, even before the ability to fly is obtained. How they perform in combat is similar to your on-foot combat, where you have your 2 primary weapons, though here they're called sidearms, and then you've got 8 other weapons you can equip that all act as a different combat art. Otherwise, it functions fairly similar, but there are some new mechanics, and still, it feels awesome. And then the Skell designs are really cool. And there's apparently a massive list that you can unlock and develop with research and blueprints, whatever, later on. I haven't seen a single blueprint to reveal any of those that you have to specially produce or develop, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like. Another thing that was extremely impressive to me is this is a completely seamless, wide open world. I mentioned zones, however there are no loading screens to divide them up. If you can see the sky, you're in one big instance. When you unlock the ability to fly, you'll be able to just launch from anywhere within New LA and just take off to a distant corner of the map and back. It's crazy. It's completely wide open. And again, this is running on the Nintendo Switch. And it's running at a consistent 30 FPS despite how many things are roaming around and how big things are. It's all running very smoothly. The talent at Monolith Soft must be just sorcery, because it's insane how smooth everything runs and how optimized it is. So in conclusion, my impression so far of Xenoblade Chronicles X has been amazing. I am very impressed with the game. I can see some mild annoyances, but I got over them and I see the benefit. And this game has been so cool. I have been hooked on this game. I'm looking forward to more story content. I'm looking forward to unlocking new equipment for my Skell, higher level frames, customizing and min-maxing my character and my Skells all together. So much more. I am looking forward to playing more of this game. And this is from someone who has never touched this franchise. And even though I may be roughly less than half of the way through the game, I can already say I would highly recommend this game to anybody, even if you haven't played the Xenoblade. I'm looking forward to more. I just want to get back to the game, so thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.